So simplifying rational expressions, so you look at each question like one fraction, like 8/10, right? But before you can cancel things out, you need to make sure you turn them into factors, okay? So some of the key parts you need to remember is only the same parts, right? Same can reduce. Parts means they are separated by multiplying. So for example, like every time I will ask you how many parts there are, right? So like question B, in the denominator, we have 4 parts. C, right? You have 2 terms in denominator, but you won't say that's 2 parts. So you need to factor, right? When you factor it, then you go to over here, right? You have 4x and then bracket. So this one will have 3 parts. Okay, so there's a difference between terms and parts. Okay, if you look at C, there are 2 terms. Okay, 2 terms. Terms are separated by add or subtracting. Okay, 2 terms. But once you factored it, then you have 3 things multiplying, so we have 3 parts. So only same parts can cancel each other out. Okay, so just be careful when you do reduce. Right, like this one has 2 terms, right? 2 terms. And this one has 2 parts. Or you can think of it as 2 factors, right? 2 factors. Same thing. Okay? Factors, because after you factor it becomes 2 brackets. So your first thing to do is to see if you can factor anything. Okay? Then if there's anything to factor, you do that first. Right, today's lesson will be focusing on multiplying, dividing. There's quite a lot of exercise to work on your own, right? But we will go over every single questions to make sure you have no trouble when doing homework, okay? So multiply and divide just like fractions, regular fractions, right? When you multiply and divide, let's say I make a question up here. 10 over 15 times it by 10, let's say 5 over 8. Okay, so something like this. Of course, you can just multiply it and then get 50, right? Top times top, bottom times bottom, right? The bottom will become 120, and then you reduce, right? Or you can do something else first. So what can you do instead, Aaron?
Cross multiply.
We are not cross multiplying.
We're not like the way they taught it was like factor them into like
Into what?
into like factors, and then you could like cross them out from the sides.
So which ones can cross out each other?
Well, like the 5, 15, and the 10, the 8 can both be reduced.
Right, so reduce the numerator with the denominator, right?
Yes.
So 5 and 15 will become
1 and 3.
Yeah, 1 and 3, okay? And then the 10 and 8 can become
5 and 4.
5 and 4.
5
Okay.
and 4.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so once you get to there, what do you do after that?
You multiply
Which ones do you multiply together?
the numerators with the denominator with the denominator.
Yeah, okay, so remember it's not cross multiplying, it's you multiply across. Okay, top times the top, denominator times denominator, right? So this one will give you 5 over 12, right? If you just multiply right away, right, you will still reduce into 5 over 12. Okay, same thing. So same with the rational expressions, okay? When you multiply, you need to make sure they are all factored, okay? So if you look at the original, the top question, right? Before I do reducing, let me back up a bit, right? Because we've been doing this, let me write it down, okay? 10 over 15, 5 over 8, right? So what actually happened is, like Aaron said, right? We turned the 10 into 2 and 5, 15 into 3 and 5, right? And then the 5 on the top, 8 can go into 2 and 2 and 2. So all these are factors, right? Parts. Parts are separated by multiplying. Okay, so the top, the 5, the 2, right, can cancel with the 2 down there, right? And then the 5 can cancel with the 5 down there, right? So anything at the top can cancel with anything at the bottom. So that's why we need to factor it, okay, for the denominator. So for question A, right, we want to check if they're all factored. So if you check the numerator and denominator, right, they are all separated by multiplying, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can just start canceling, right? All of them are factored. Okay, so you can either multiply them out together, because this one, after you multiply together, is still factored. Okay, so this one we can multiply together first. Top and top is 12 x to the 4 y cubed, right? It's still factored, right? They are all multiplying. There's no add and subtract inside. And denominator, after you multiply, what do you get, Brendan?
30x cubed y cubed.
Yeah, 30x cubed y cubed, right? So you want to make sure after you multiply it's still factored. So the denominator has 1, 2, 3, right? 3 factors. Numerator has also 3 factors, okay? Not terms. So we can start doing the cancel, right? Factor and factor that can cancel each other out. So 12 and 30, we can reduce that into what, Eric?
Is it 2 over 5?
Yeah, okay. You can divide both sides by 6, right? And then x to the 4 divided by x cubed, you subtract the exponent, so you get x. Y cubed and y cubed, they are the same amount, so they are all gone, right? So you can write it either this way, or you can write it as 2x over 5, right? Because x, you have more x at the top than the bottom. Okay? So are we done here, Nathan? Are we done?
No,
What else do we need to do?
the restrictions.
Yes, okay. Where do you look for restrictions now?
The second one.
Yeah, okay, in the second line, okay? So it will be over here. I'll highlight it, okay? So make sure you can also highlight in your notes so you can check when you do homework, okay, where to find restrictions. So before you cancel things out, right? If you only look at the final answer, you will miss the restriction on the y. Okay, the reason why we want to check the line before canceling is the restriction is for the original question, right? So original question has y, right? So you have to include y in there. So you have 3 parts, but then the 30 is a constant. So there's no restriction on 30. So you have restriction on the x, right? It's alone, so x cannot be 0. And then y is also alone, right? So you have y and x. Okay, so you have restrictions and a simplified together, right? This is your answer. Okay, so your answer always include two parts, restrictions and the simplified expression. Okay, so let's look at dividing. How do you divide fractions? Yoshir?
You take the reciprocal
Of which one?
of the second one.
Yeah, okay. So you will take the reciprocal of second one. Reciprocal means you flip the fraction upside down. So let me write it out. So the first fraction stays where it is. And then the dot is multiplying, okay? So I don't mix up with the x. And then you flip the second one, right? So it'll be 2n4 negative 25n squared. And there's nothing to factor right now, right? So if there's nothing to be factored, we just multiply, make it into one fraction, will be easier. Okay, so I'll let you do this part, multiply, because we just did multiplying. This one you can do it. So please raise your hand after you multiply the two fractions. Have you finished multiplying the two fractions? Please raise your hand. Okay, Colin. Yeah, Colin, what do you get after you multiply?
200m squared and 7 over 30m5n squared.
30 and 5n squared. Okay. Yeah, quite big, right? So if you don't like the very big number, you could do some reduce on the numbers first, on the constant, okay? So your number doesn't get that big. And then now you can start simplifying. So same thing, I'll let you do that first as well. So raise your hand once you have the final reduced expression and restrictions, okay? Both. Okay, Aaron, what do you have?
20 n to the power of 5 over 3 n to the power
N to the 5 over 3
of 3.
m to the
Power of 3, so
power
cubed.
of 3 or cube. Okay, yeah, looks good. Okay, so into either numerator or denominator, right? You just compare which one has, which side has more, right? So m squared, m 5 right? Then the bottom has 3 extra more, right? So cancels out, you still have 3 extra more. And then for the n squared will cancel out 2 of them on the top, will makes it 5. 5 left on the top, okay? If you just subtract them, it will still work, okay? It will just have m to the -3, right? 2 minus 5 is -3. So -3 is just saying that the denominator has more m, okay? Now the restrictions for dividing is a little bit different, okay? Because for restriction, we always want to look at the denominator, right? So you have to check along every step, right? If you look at the second line, right? This one is the second line. This part, I'm doing highlighted, okay? This part is the denominator. This is also denominator. But then the 2m to the 4 is all used to be numerator, right? The original denominator was -25 n squared. So for restriction, when you have dividing, you need to check 3 places, okay? So right here. If it's multiplying, there's only one place, right? So that's the difference between the two, okay? So restriction for this one is pretty straightforward, just m and n, right? So m, n cannot equal 0. So these two questions, they are similar in the way that there's nothing to factor, okay? These two, A and B, nothing to factor. But then starting from questions C and D, the idea is the same, but you need to factor before you start canceling. Okay, so let's look at C first. C is a multiplying. So let's take a, let me number the parts first. So numerator. Oops. Okay, give me 1 sec. Got crashed. Okay, so first part. Okay, for the first fractions, the denominator can be factored, right? So we take out the 5, that's a GCF. The numerator is already factored, right? So we factor 5 out, n plus 4. Okay, and then for the second one, the numerator, nothing to do, right? It's already factored for you. Okay, denominator as well. So the only thing you need to factor is the first fraction. And then once you get here, right, they are all factored, right? We'll check, double check, right? Factors are separated by parts. So the top has 4 parts, right? Denominator has also 4 parts. So factors can cancel out factors. So n plus 4 can cancel out n plus 4, right? That's a factor. And then we have m can cancel out the m squared on the top. What else can cancel each other, Nathan?
The 3,
Yeah, 3 can cancel out with
12,
becomes
4,
4. Yeah, okay, 4 and 1. And anything else?
the
What
5
else?
and the 10.
Yeah, 5, right? 5 is 1, 5 becomes 1, 10 become a 2. Okay, so you need to do this after you do the factoring, okay? So the common mistake is I see people they see, okay, here's phi m, right? M cancel out with the m, right? Because you see an m at the top, m at the bottom, and then start, because canceling feels nice, right? To cancel things out, so you start canceling random stuff. So make sure you cannot cancel before factor it, right? Because the adding makes them together. Okay, so you cannot do something like that. So you need to factor them into parts, then you can start canceling. All right, so all you need to do now is just multiply all the leftover together. Oh, there's nothing left at the bottom now, right? Because everything at the bottom becomes 1. So you just left with 4 times 2, that's an 8, and m. Okay, and that's it. All right, so how do we find the restrictions? Where do we get restrictions, Yoshir?
The second line 5, and then the m plus 4, and then also the 3m.
Yeah, the 3n. Okay, so you look at the term, the line that has that's been factored. Okay, so you have the 5 and 3, they are constant, right? So you don't need to worry about. So you just worry about the n plus 4. So you have n plus 4 cannot be 0, right? And then on the right side you have m, right? 3m. The 3 you can ignore. So you just look at the m. M cannot be 0. From the brackets m plus 4, you will get m cannot be negative 4. Okay, so your restrictions are negative 4 and 0. Okay, so you have 2 restrictions. So that the same thing you need to do is for D, okay? The difference is you need to do reciprocal, okay? And when you do reciprocal, that means your restriction, you need to look at 3 locations. So I'll let you guys try question D by yourself, okay? Start by factoring wherever possible. For this one, right, there's more than one place that can be factored, okay? So I'll let you, we'll check one step at a time, okay? For question D, you can raise your hand after you factored everything, okay? You can save a step by doing the reciprocal at the same time. Okay, so what I mean is after you factored it, you put them as reciprocal, okay? So you don't need to copy the same thing again and then flip the second fraction. Okay, so raise your hand after you factored it and turn it into reciprocal. Okay, Aaron, can you tell me what you have for the first fraction?
Like everything is factored, right?
Yeah, just the first fraction.
It should be 2/1.
2/1, huh? Like that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Just the numerator first, okay? Numerator, how do you factor that?
First you just take out a 2.
Yeah, what's left?
And that'll be 2a squared subtract 5.
Okay. And denominator, anything to do?
Yeah, you factor out the 3.
The denominator, you can take out 3.
Yeah, when you swap with, oh wait, no, that bottom, I already factored a little earlier. So like, it just factors up to 1.
Okay, so nothing changed, right? Right, if it's 1, then you don't need to do anything. It's just a minus 3b. Yeah, Aaron, is that what you got?
Oh yeah, that was a previous step. I just like did a little earlier, but
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, what I meant is just factor it, right? And also flip it at the same time, okay? So not canceling yet, okay? So first step is to factor wherever possible. Okay, now let's check the second fraction, okay? So the one that you flipped and factor, you flip and factor at the same time, okay, to save a step. Okay, Colin, can I check your numerator?
2 bracket a squared minus 9b squared.
Okay, is that one completely factored?
I used the difference of squares later.
Oh, okay, you can do that at the same time. What you can do, right? You can take this, right? So to save a lot of writing, do it on the side, right? Denominator you factor on the side, and then you put your answer in the numerator. Okay, so what do you get then after you use difference of square?
I'm gonna 2 and then bracket a plus 3b and then a minus 3b.
Yeah, okay. So a plus 3b, a minus 3b. Right, so what I'm writing here is what you can do on your homework, right? The way you could show your work. So, right, when you are doing the homework, you can copy the question down and then on the side, right, if you are doing some side work, right, you take out the a squared minus 9b squared and then difference of square. And then you put that answer to there. Okay, because you got some work you can do on the side. So that denominator, because of a reciprocal, it goes to the top. Okay, so you are doing 2 things at a time. You are flipping it, right? At the same time, you are factoring it. Okay, now for the denominator. Okay, Yosher, do you have the denominator?
3 bracket 2a squared minus 5.
Yep. Okay, so we factor everything and we also did the reciprocal. So now all we need to do is to start looking for factors to cancel, right? We have 1, 2, 3, right? 3 parts there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Only factors can cancel factors. Okay, so did you guys finish canceling? Okay, when you finish canceling, you can raise your hand, write down what's left, okay? And don't forget restrictions, okay? Restriction on the side. Remember, for dividing, you have 3 places to find restrictions. Okay, Eric, what do you have for your reduced fraction?
I have 4 times a plus 3b over 3.
3b over 3, like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Nathan, do you have the same?
Yes.
Okay, can you give us your restrictions?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay, so for the canceling, right? Canceling, let me show the cancel, right? So a minus 3b will cancel out the a minus 3b on the top, right? Numerator, denominator cancel each other. And then you have 2a squared minus 5 cancel out with 2a squared minus 5. 2 and 2 times together makes it 4. Okay.
Jason, for the restriction, is it a take away 3b cannot equal to 0?
Mm-hmm.
A plus 3b cannot equal to 0?
Mm-hmm.
And then 2a squared take away 2a squared take away 5 cannot equal to 0?
Yeah. And then
And then I think that's it.
this is the beginning, right? Because
You-
if you
it's
remember,
like
if you have 2
5.
letters, right? What else do you need to do?
You need to, like over, like isolate the thing.
Yeah. Which one do we isolate? Which letter?
A.
Yeah. You isolate the first order, right, in the alphabet. Right,
Yeah.
so you isolate the A, so you each one you'll get A cannot equal something. Okay. So let me know when you get there.
Jason, should for the last one shouldn't be like 2a squared or just
For the last one, yeah, 2a squared minus 5. You need to isolate A.
oh okay.
Yeah.
Can you show me how to isolate A for these ones? I'm a bit confused.
How about first one? How about A
Yeah.
minus B? A minus 3B cannot equal 0. How do you isolate?
You just move 3b over and it
Yeah.
comes positive 3b.
Yeah, so that's the first one, right? How about second one?
A cannot equal to negative 3b.
Yeah, very good. How about the third one? What would you do first? It takes a couple steps.
Would you move the 5 over?
So it becomes
5.
2a squared
2a
cannot
squared equal to 5.
5. And then what do you do after that?
You gotta like divide it by 2.
Yeah, so you get,
A squared cannot equal to 2.5.
yeah, very good. And then,
You have to square root it.
yeah, square root both sides, right?
Yeah. So
So,
A cannot equal the square root of 2.5.
okay. And are we missing anything when we square root?
The plus minus.
Yes, very good. Okay, so this question, in fact, you get 4 restrictions. Okay, so common mistake is to forget the plus minus, right? So we put them all together into the box. A cannot equal 3b, right? Negative 3b, so that's also plus minus, right? Plus minus 3b. How about let's just do that, okay? Make it look more neat. So plus minus 3b, that's 2 restrictions, and also plus minus root. You can write 5 over 2 or 2.5, doesn't matter. Okay, so total you get 4 restrictions. So for dividing the restriction, you need to look at 3 places. I'll highlight them again, right? This denominator, and the numerator up there. Okay, so that's why you get all 4 of them. Any questions? Okay, so that's basically that's what you do for any multiplying and dividing. So if it gets any harder, it's just could be different ways to factor. Okay, like over here we use difference as square, right? On the next page you'll start to see 3 terms. Then you need to do cross multiplying to factor. Okay, and then GCF, right? Always before when you start the factoring. Okay, if no questions, we'll look at next page. Oh, next page doesn't have any 3 terms. I think it's next page, right? So how about this? The next 4 questions, right? These 4 questions are similar to the one we just did. So I'm gonna leave those 4 by yourself. Okay, so if you have questions, you can check the notes, right? Check the page we just finished. So when you finish these 4, then we'll go over them, okay? So you can raise your hand after you finish these 4 questions. Okay, does anyone have questions so far?
Jason.
Can I
Yeah,
see the other page again for like the restrictions on question D?
hold on, one at a time, okay? Brennan?
For the previous page,
Yeah.
can you go back to the previous page?
Yeah.
Why didn't we look at the restrictions for B?
Which question are you looking at?
D. No, I'm just for
Yeah.
yeah. Why aren't we looking for the restrictions for B?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my question. Why aren't we looking for the restrictions for B?
Why, you said, why are we looking for it?
Why aren't we looking for the restrictions for B? Because we only did A, right?
With the A. You mean
But there's 2
when do we look
variables.
for it?
No,
So
but there's 2 variables, right? A and B.
oh, how come we don't find restriction for B? Yeah, because
Yeah.
if you have 2 variable, right? If you get restriction for A, it already includes B inside, so you don't need that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
That
So if
answers my
it's
question.
a 2 letter M and N, you just find restriction for N. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, Eric, what's your questions?
It was like I just wanted to double check something on the restrictions.
Yeah, which part?
Oh, I already saw it. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Aaron, you already finished ABCD?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, very quick. Okay. Please raise your hand if you finish all 4. And just feel free to ask me any questions, okay? If you run into any, let me know. Oh, I see why you meant the question, right? For question A, right? Question A, we did restriction for both X and Y because Y are in separate factors, right? Separate parts. You see the Y as itself as a factor, right? And then X itself is also a factor, right? They are in separate parts. So that's why you need restriction for each of the part. But then for question D, right? Inside a single part, like A minus 3B, that we count as one factor, right? One part. But it has both A and B together. So you don't need to find restriction for both A and B for the same part, okay? Because it only is included in the same part, okay? You don't need two restrictions for one part. For each part, just one restriction. So that's why we only solve for A. You don't need to solve for A and also solve for B. Okay, I hope that clear your confusion. Yeah, good question. Okay, so same with question B, right? M and N, they are separate parts, so you need two separate restrictions. Okay, so we can add that in. Okay, maybe we can clarify this way, right? One restrictions for each factor, right? For each factor. So if the factor has two letters, you just need one letter, okay? One variable. If it has only one, of course, just one restrictions. Okay, has anyone else finished question 3? Please raise your hand if you finished them all. Okay, for question A, What is the final expression, Aaron?
2b over 5x.
2b over 5x. Okay. Colin, what's the restriction for a?
A, B, X, and Y cannot equal 0.
Okay. Right, and then next one. Sarah, what's your expression for b?
Like negative 2ab over
Negative, can you speak up a little bit more?
2ab over 9.
Over 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And Yosher, what's your restriction for b?
ABC cannot equal to 0.
Okay. Right, let's look at question C. Brennan, what's your expression for C?
2 times x plus 2 over 9.
Over 9, okay. And Eric, have you finished question C yet?
I'm still doing question C.
Okay, when you get the restriction, please let me know. Okay, and Nathan, what question are you working on?
And number D.
Okay, so when you finish D, let me know.
Jason,
Yeah, you sure?
I have a different answer for C.
For C, okay, what do you have?
Just x plus 2.
Oh, so no numbers at all.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll go over it. Okay. Anyone else got different answer for A, B, C? Okay, Eric, have you got the restriction for C yet?
I have to answer for D, Jason.
Yeah, B.
1 over 6a.
1 over 6A. Okay. Do you have the restriction too?
Do it right now.
Okay.
Yeah, Jason, I like to change my answers. I did something wrong.
Yeah,
It's
which one?
actually x for C. It's x plus 2. Yeah.
So no 2 over 9, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of confused on how to get the restriction for this one.
How to get restrictions? Okay, if you look at the questions, right? Where
Yeah.
do you look for restrictions?
The variables,
Which one? Which part? Numerator or denominator?
the numerator.
Denominator. Restriction is always for the denominator.
Oh, okay.
Denominator cannot be 0, right? For dividing, you need to look
So-
at 3 places. Yeah? Eric, yeah? What do you want to say?
Yeah.
For the restrictions for D, I think one of them is A cannot equal to 3.
A cannot be 3. Anything else?
And for the last one, is it like A squared cannot be equal to 0?
A squared cannot be 0, but you got to isolate A, right?
So is it x cannot be negative 3 over 2?
Okay, hold on
and
one sec. Eric,
X
I'm
cannot.
talking to Nathan right now. Okay. Yeah, Nathan. So for A squared cannot equal to 0, you still need to isolate A. So what would that be?
How do you isolate A?
Similar to the way you did for this one, right? You remember last question D? You had A squared cannot be 2.5. What did you do after that?
Means you just square root the other one.
Yeah. So what do you get when you square root that?
So then wouldn't that be just a cannot be square root of 0?
Yeah. And what is square root of 0?
1.
You try it. Try it on the calculator. What is square root of 0?
Hold on.
Found it?
It's just a cannot be equal to 0 then.
Okay. Let me ask you this on the side. Okay. What is square root of 25? Nathan, what is square root of 25?
5.
5, right? Because 5 times 5 will be 25. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Square root of 0, that means what times itself will give you 0?
0.
Yeah, so that's why it just equals 0. Okay, so you need to understand what's
Oh, okay.
the meaning of square root. Okay, then you won't need a calculator for that. Okay, Eric, back to you. What's your restriction?
I think it's x is not equal to -3/2, and x is not equal to 2.
Okay. All right, anyone else want to add to the answers for these 4? Or you guys all match? Anyone? Okay, we'll start going over. Okay.
I think I might be wrong, but I have x squared plus 5x
Which one are you
plus
talking
6
about? Which question?
for question C, like number C,
Question
like
C?
example number C. Yeah, question C.
Yeah. What's your answer?
I have x plus 2 times x plus 3 over 2x plus 1.
X plus 3 over 2x plus 1, like that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll check, okay? We'll see if which one's correct. So let's start from A, right? So you can take a look at how I would do it. And then if you think this way is better, right? Or way to show work is better, you can write it down, right? If it's the same, right? You can just mark by yourself. So the way I would do it, I can start by reducing if I want, right? Make the number smaller to multiply. So just the numbers, okay? So 5 and 25, I can reduce, okay? And then the 6 and 12, I can reduce. That way makes the number easier to multiply, right? So now I will just multiply across. Top times the top, bottom times the bottom, okay? So I get 2x squared y cubed ab squared, right? I'm not reducing the variables yet, so it doesn't get too messy when I cross things out. Denominator, you have 5 abx cubed y cubed. So now they are all lined up, right? It's easier to reduce. So a, of course, cancel out all the a at the top. For b, it canceled out one of the b at the top, so no more square, right? And then x squared will cancel out 2 of them at the bottom, right? So you get 1 extra x at the bottom. Y cubed is completely gone. Okay, so it's very clear what's left, right? So you have 2b on the top, right? 1b at the top, and then 5x. So the answer should be 2b over 5x. Yep, that's correct. Very good. Okay, now for the restriction, you need to look at denominator. The line you look for is this one, okay, before the variable cancels out. So a, b, x, y, right? They are all parts, right? They are all factors. So that's also correct. Okay, very good. Let's move on to B, right? So that takes about 1 minute, right? For question B, you have a dividing. Dividing, you need to make it reciprocal, right? So I'm gonna rewrite it first. Factor for this one. Okay, so it'll be c squared 3ab times 6c squared. This is like 6c squared over 1, right? So you flip it, it'll be 1 over 6 times c squared. And then you can do some reducing of the numbers first, right? So 2 and 3. C squared can cancel each other out, right? This one is not too complicated. We'll just do reducing, save some space. 1a cancel with the a at the top, 1b cancel with the b at the top. Okay, pretty straightforward. 2ab left, -9. Okay, let's look at the answer. Yep, that's correct. Okay. And then the restrictions, if you only look at the denominator here in the question, then you will miss the restriction, right? You have to look at the 3 locations, here, here, and the top, right? So then you will also have C, right? So A, B, C cannot be 0. That's also correct. Okay, so not too bad, right? Any questions so far? Anyone? Okay. For questions C and D, you need to do some factoring. So you need to know how to factor, right? Take out the 2, x squared minus 4. X squared minus 4, I can factor further. X minus 2, x plus 2, right? Difference of squared. Okay, you can do that on the side, right? And then put the final factor in the fraction. Denominator, you can take out 3. So 2x plus 1. Okay, and then the second fraction, we can also do GCF, right? We can take out the 9, 2x plus 1, take out the 6, x minus 2. Okay, so this factoring, just doing the GCF and difference of squares, that's all you need. And then we can start doing the reduce. 2 and 6, right? And then we have 3 and 9. Oh, 3 and 3 again, right? So the 3 up here can cancel each other out. So no more numbers. Okay, so let's take a look. Yeah, so far everyone's good, right? No numbers left. And then let's cancel out the brackets, okay? The factors. X minus 2 is gone. 2x plus 1 is also gone. Okay, so Eric, do you see how it's canceled out?
Yeah.
Okay, so you are only left with the numerator. You can either have a bracket or not. It doesn't matter, it's alone. Okay, so just write x plus 2. And then for the restrictions, only the denominator. Right, 6 and 3 you can ignore, they are constants. So from each of them, you get x cannot be 2, cannot be -1/2. Let's see. Oh, we have a 3/2. Where's the 3/2 come from? Yeah, there's no 3/2, right? So answer should be this. Okay, let's cross this out. Okay, last part, question D. Question D, factoring. Okay, we have 3a, and then 4, we can take GCF out, a minus 3. And then we are doing the reciprocal and the factor at the same time, okay? So 9a will go down, right? It's already factored for that. For the numerator, it will be GCF of 2, a minus 3. Okay, Nathan, do you have the same so far?
Yeah, I have the same.
Yeah, okay. So now time to cancel things. So 2 and 4, right? And then and 9. Now the factors. A minus 3 cancel A minus 3. A cancel out with the square. So you are left with only 1, right? Please do not put 0, right? When you cancel everything out, it's not 0. And then 6, 8. Okay, let's see. Yep, very good. Good job, okay? And then for the restrictions, you look at 3 places. 1, 2, 3, right? You can ignore all the constant parts. So that's 3 and 0. Okay, perfect. That's good. So let's have a break. Right now is 11:08. So 10 minutes then. Okay, so I'll see you at 11:20. Okay, 11:20, I'll see you. If you have questions, you can stay after class.